Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Emmy Award-winning comedian Mike Robles to my morning show. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Robert. How you doing?
Okay, amigo. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. First of all, happy Hispanic Heritage Month, bro.
That's right. Well, you're right, Mike. That's right.
We're right in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month, which, by the way, is a great opportunity, a great time for all Latinos to renew their membership cards. So
Either we're loud or right, they better take care of business.
That's right. Renew your Latino membership cards. Otherwise, they kick us out, bro.
Right.
But it's nice to be on your morning show. Thank you for having me.
No, man, thank you for taking time, Mike. I know you're a very busy person, and like I said, wow, Emmy Award-winning comedian. I like that, Mike. I like that a lot. Congratulations.
That's pretty good. Thank you. Yeah. I'm a humble dude, so, obviously I'm an Emmy-winning comedian. I'm very proud of that, but, there's some people who tell me, if I had an Emmy Award, I would be walking around with it, like with a chain around my neck, That's just not my style. So, I have it. I'm happy to have it, But yeah, definitely.
There you go. Now, Mike, you're originally from New York City, right?
I'm from New York City, baby. Can you tell by my accent?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Some people sometimes get confused. They go, this guy's either from New York or he's from Odessa. So I tell people, no, from New York. I'm not from Odessa.
There you go. Now, Mike, just out of curiosity, you being from New York, I don't know how old you are. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to ask you, man, Studio 54, did you ever make it there?
I made it to Studio 54 a couple of times, so I don't know if that tells you exactly my age range, but that was New York. I had myself the DA, you know what I'm saying? I had polyester pants. I thought I was John Travolta, that kind of thing.
Oh, man, how fortunate, man. Studio 54, man. How did you get in? The back door, the front door, or you just, how did you get in?
The reason, that's a good question. The reason I got in, the only reason I got in, because I was, I'm not Studio 54 material, but it actually was a private party that they were holding that I was able to go that way. So basically a private party was rented out, and I got to go in, and man, it's like walking into, like, I don't know, like a circus or something, like Cirque du Soleil. It was like, you got girls dancing who got the body paint and, just all these freaky characters. The smell of cocaine is in the air. I mean, it was like, it was like that time, where everything was happening. It was beautiful.
That is, how fortunate. Mike, the closest I could get to Studio 54 was about 3 years ago. I went to Las Vegas, and at the MGM Grand, they had a Studio 54 club there until they closed it down. So that's the closest I could get to it.
Nah, it's not the same thing. It's like eating, like, I don't know, Taco Cabana Mexican food. It's just not the same, you know what I mean? Studio 54, New York City, West 54th Street. That's why they call it Studio 54, on West 54th Street. And yeah, I mean, that was just a classic joint. I mean, I'm glad I was able to experience it. Yeah. So it's funny, you remember Studio 54, I guess.
Of course, but, even more like the movie. I thought the movie was simply awesome. Did you see the movie, Mike, Studio 54?
No, I didn't see the movie, no. But I can imagine, I mean, if they had characters in there, like I said, it was walking into like a freak show, like a Cirque du Soleil show. I mean, everybody had their own personality. People with afros, mohawks, some hair, no hair, the outfits. I mean, and everybody just focusing on that one night floor. It was just like a whole collection of different personalities expressing themselves.
Well, no, it does, Mike. It actually sounds like one of the scenes from Star Wars. Remember the bar scene? When they had all those freaks and everything at the bar scene in Star Wars?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much that. So you can imagine, not going to encourage it, but you can imagine walking in there and kind of like, I don't know, kind of high on some kind of drug. Imagine what that does. It's like a Rocky Horror show, the midnight one. It would only magnify what you're looking at. You think you're freaking out now. I don't do drugs, but just walking in, you feel like you do.
I can imagine that, but you're blessed regardless, man, to have that in your back pocket saying, I was at Studio 54. Now, Mike, let me ask you a question. Are you a Yankee fan, a Mets fan?
It's funny because they ask me this question, and people get upset, but I'm a Yankee and a Mets fan.
Okay.
People say you got to pick one or the other. You know, you're rooting for two teams, and the reason I am is like I grew up in Brooklyn. That's where I was raised, Brooklyn, New York. So being raised in Brooklyn, you're a Mets fan. That's how it works. If you're from New York, if you're from Brooklyn, chances are you're a Mets fan. And then I moved to the Bronx. Now, if you're from the Bronx, you're a Yankee fan. So I have to go both ways because, you know, my childhood memories are with the Mets, and then as I became a young man, I became a Yankee. So I got to root for one or the other. But if you put me on the spot and said, in the World Series, who would you root for? I don't know if the people from the Bronx would be happy with me, but I would have to go with the Mets.
Woo! They're hot right now, Mike. They're hot.
It's unbelievable. Nobody would think, you know.
What did you think about the game? I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
If I would ask you to name, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 Met players, most people probably could.
You're probably right, Mike.
So a team like that is like, it looks like they're going to go to the playoffs. Here's the Fantasy World Series. New York Mets versus Houston Astros.
Really? You like the Astros, huh?
Well, the Astros, to me, are like the Mets. It's like a lot of good guys, but how many people know who these guys... You know, it's not that traditional marquee team. You know, where they have like the Yankees. You know, you have A-Rod, you have McCann, you know, you have Teixeira. You have a lot of guys that people know. Versus like the Mets and the Astros, who are like good guys, but not many... America doesn't know or not familiar with a lot of the players, is what I'm saying.
That's very true, Mike. They're like Cinderella teams right now, ¿verdad?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's good or bad for baseball, but you know what? Both of them are playing great. I'll tell you what, one of these guys, either the manager for the Astros or the Mets, they could both win Manager of the Year.
That's right. That's right, Mike. That's right. You got it down. Let me ask you something. Did you see the game last night between the Cowboys and the Giants?
You know, I ran out of things to throw at the TV. It was that upsetting. It was like, I don't know. It's almost like, how do you explain a game like that? Like nobody wanted to win. It was like, you know, it was just like, you know, as a Giants fan, you know, it's like, what is going on? I mean, they played so good until the last 2 drives. You know, that's when the defense got soft. You know, it's almost like they needed a shot of Viagra at the end, and they didn't get it. That's how soft the defense was. Up to that point, they were playing, you know, great defense. So, oh, what a horrible! I mean, if you're a Giant fan, what a horrible loss. I mean, and then the call that they, you know, forced, and you're gonna throw the ball instead of killing the clock. It's like, oh my God, it just. But it was an exciting game, you know, either way you look at it. But and I was all ready to, you know, just kind of get at the Dallas Cowboy fans because, you know, here's the way it works. The Cowboy fans never win. Well, I mean, never lose. You know, they gave the game away, but they never lose. You know. So if you look at the Cowboys' record, it's like, I don't know, 12 wins, 0 losses, and 5 we gave you the game.
That's right. That's right. Either way, man. Right.
I don't want to mess with your Cowboy fans. I'm sure a lot of listeners love the Cowboys, but you asked me about the game. It was, I don't know, it was just sloppy, and it was. But you know, it's good for the Cowboys. I mean, they did what they had to do. You know what? 1:34 seconds left. They have to drive 72, 78 yards, and Romo did it. So props to the Cowboys.
I'm telling you, Mike. Talk to me about Que Locos.
Que Locos, that's like my baby, man. Que Locos is a show that I was blessed to create back in '99. We had a nice, I would say, 2-3 year run. And I think it really kind of just opened up the doors for Latino comedy all over the country. Because it came into everybody's homes, you know, in Galavisión, for those people that remember. We had guys that now have just blown up to become superstars. Gabriel Iglesias is one of them. Felipe Esparza. Of course, everybody knows George Lopez. So it goes on and on the list as far as what we did. Oh, I'm very proud of that show. Yeah, I was able to create that in 1999.
You should be very, very proud, Mike. That's something that's simply outstanding, man. Congratulations. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I was in New York, in the Bronx, well-known on the East Coast, and you know, I'm just one of these guys that I like just to see Latinos. I like to see ourselves represented on TV. So I'm flipping through the channels, you know, and I noticed you have Comedy Central, which are mostly white comics, and then at the time you have BET, which is mostly African-American comics, but I didn't see no Latino comedians. And I know there's a whole bunch of really funny Latino comedians, but we didn't have that outlet, you understand, as far as people seeing us on TV. So that got the wheels turning as far as creating a showcase where we can showcase Latino talent, stand-up comedy. You know, back in the time, you have to understand, 99, if you go back, like the 3 Latino comedians that people knew around the country were Paul Rodriguez, George Lopez, and Carlos Mencia. That was pretty much it. If I said name some others, you'd have no clue. And then, you know,
right.
Que Locos came around. We were on every Sunday night. I showcased all the funniest Latino comedians that I knew, I was aware of. And all of a sudden, you know, guys like Felipe Esparza, Pablo Francisco, Gabriel Iglesias, all of a sudden they started to become household names. And it goes on and on. So now it's like, it's kind of normal, you know, to have all these comedians out there and all these shows. But like I said, I mean, Que Locos opened up the gates as far as Latino comedy in people's homes. It's as simple as that.
Mike, now, you living in the Bronx, you living in New York, and then making the transition to San Antonio. What is the difference in comida, in the food, amigo, from up there in the Bronx in New York and the food here in San Antonio? Is it that much different, or is it pretty close?
No, let's start off with the hot sauce. I mean, out here in Texas, you put hot sauce on everything, you know. In New York, hot sauce is not as big, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I say sometimes, I go, you know, in Texas you have salsa known as sauce. In New York, salsa is the music. But both of them.
That's right. Salsa, there you go. I got you.
Yeah. So whether it's hot salsa in Texas or salsa music in New York, they both make me hot. It's pretty much what I have to say. So yeah, you know, as far as the salsa sauce and that, but no, it's great because it's completely 2 different foods. You know, obviously here you have the Mexican food, Tex-Mex food. New York, you have a lot of Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican. I love both of them. It's beautiful to be able to eat both and enjoy both. Now, what I notice is a lot of people like, you take the most, I would say one of the most common things that we eat is, for example, here is tamales, right?
Right.
In New York, we have something similar. It's a little bigger. We put more stuff in it. It's called pasteles.
Okay.
Well, basically, it's the same thing, just different words. Tamales, pasteles, you know, they mean different things. But basically, it's that masa, you know, with whatever you put in it, right?
Right.
But what I found in Texas, a lot of people don't like pasteles, and a lot of people in New York don't like tamales. I don't understand why. I love them both.
Isn't that weird, Mike? That's so weird. You know, Mike, I've gone to El Paso, and I've seen to where they have chimichangas in El Paso. They don't have regular tacos like here in San Antonio, where it's a tortilla that's, I guess folded over in half, and you put your meat or whatever in there. And in El Paso, they laugh at us. They go, "What are y'all doing? Crazy, right?"
Is that crazy, right? Huh? I don't get it. But I love both. Obviously, you know, in New York, you get great pizza. Not so much in Texas. Let's put it this way. I mean, going out, this is another difference. Like, here, you know, you go out and eat Mexican, it's like part of the routine, right? And eat Mexican.
Right.
No big deal. Back in New York, you go to a Mexican restaurant to eat Mexican, and it's almost like a night out. It's almost like a treat. That's
crazy.
the difference.
Crazy.
Yeah, so if you're in New York, if you're in Brooklyn, you're in the Bronx, and say, oh, you know, tonight we're going to go to Don Miguel's, we're going to have Mexican food. Oh, I love that place. And I'll tell you what, if they have a mariachi band that night, oh, my God, now it's almost an event. We're here, you know, in Texas, it's almost like, what's the big deal, right?
Yeah, that's true. They're all over the place. They're all over the place, man.
Yeah. So I would say they're both different. They're both good, but I guess the only advice I would have, I mean, is like if you're from here, and you know, and then my friends in New York is like, you know, open up the mind, open up the taste bud, and enjoy the difference in foods because you're missing out, man.
Mike, we just passed the anniversary of course, 9/11, 9/11. Were you in New York that day when everything happened?
Well, actually, we were. That was during the time we were taping Que Locos on production. With Que Locos, we taped the show in Los Angeles, in Pasadena, the Ice House Comedy Club. And then when we were done, we do all the production out of Miami. So I was living in Miami for like 4 years. But anyway, on 9/11, I happened to be in Miami at Univision Studios in the show, and they had a flight that morning scheduled to go to JFK. And I decided to stop at Univision before going to the airport. And I'm in the office that they have for me. The doors is closed, and I hear people like, "Oh my God, no, Melodía," you know, all this Spanish stuff going on. And I'm like, "What's going on?" So I take a peek, and they're watching the TV, and that's where you saw these planes hitting the World Trade Center. I thought when I heard it, I thought it was like a small private plane that hit it. Those buildings don't move, you know. But then I realized, you know, that this was like much bigger, and then the terrorists were behind it. And I was like, oh my God. I was so numb, I kind of closed the door and I just sat there thinking like, this is not happening. This is crazy. So, you know, obviously, you know, there was no flight to New York that day because all the flights were grounded. Matter of fact, back then, I don't know if people remember, but all the airports were closed for at least a week after that.
Nobody wanted to fly. Everybody was nervous on flying.
Well, no, they closed the airport for security reasons. So even if you wanted to fly out, you could.
Sure.
So it's funny because we had a show scheduled. See, that happened during the week. We had a show scheduled for McAllen, Texas on that Saturday night. And I remember speaking to the club owner. It was La Villa Real, I think it's closed in McAllen, Texas. And I said, what do you want to do? He goes, well, you know, the people could use some laughter because it's really, you know, everybody's like depressed, you know. And the problem was, there were no flights, you know, going. You couldn't get on a flight to go to McAllen, Texas. So what I was able to do, and I convinced the other comics, I got the other comics who were coming from L.A., but I drove from Miami with a friend of mine to McAllen, Texas, so I could put on that show for those people.
Oh, my God.
The comics from L.A., I believe the airports had opened up. Maybe some of them drove through, but at the end of the day, you know, the K Locals Comedy Tour, to make that show happen in McAllen, and you know how they say laughter is the best medicine, we drove to McAllen to do a show for the people in that town and bring some laughter. And this was like maybe 5-6 days after September 11th.
Wow.
So I was proud of the comics, the talent. He was happy. The place was sold out. People laughed, and that's how we did it. That was, you know, that's how we rolled.
Mike, I have taken the drive. I was a music promoter for EMI Latin for a while, and I took a band from San Antonio all the way to Miami. So I know about that drive, amigo. That is one mean drive. That's all I'm going to say.
No. I think, you know, it's funny because the guy made it from Miami. He made it to, I want to say Houston, I think in 24 hours.
Right.
This guy now, he made one stop. He had about 12 Red Bulls in a bag, right? I said, you okay? You need to stop? He goes, no, man, I'm good. I'm only going to stop once to use the restroom. And I said, oh, my God. How this guy did it is unbelievable. But, yeah, we made it. And it was an experience because, you know, when you drive, you hit all these, you know, once you leave Florida, you hit in all these states like, I believe, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, you know what I mean?
Right.
We stopped to eat in Mobile, Alabama, and you could just smell the racism in the air. It's amazing.
Oh.
People in overalls, missing teeth, and then I walked in like, hey, yeah, can I get some eggs and water? Everybody's looking like, who the hell is this guy? We got a Yankee in the house. I'm like, oh, my God. How many of these days to get the hell out of here quick? Because these people don't joke around, man. You know? But what an experience. But yeah, that was... that's where I was September 11th, and what happened the week after as far as, you know, driving to McAllen.
You know, Mike, I can remember driving and getting to Pensacola, Florida, and while we're still driving, I'm seeing signs on the side of the highway saying, please do not stop and feed the alligators. Who said I wanted to stop and feed the alligators? I had to stop
some person who goes, oh, look how cute, let me get out and feed them. Then when you see the alligators, you know, just eating your best friend, that's when you go kind of burn rubber. It's amazing. You know, it's usually white people that do that. You ever notice that when you watch the nature shows? It's always like they want to get close to the animals. Oh, look at the tiger. Oh, you know, then they bite their heads off, and you go, wait, you know. You know, like Latinos and all that would be like, you go, I'll watch from here.
Wasn't that cute after all, was it?
What's that?
It wasn't those alligators aren't that cute after all when they're eating your friends, right?
No, exactly. Because they didn't know. Oh, I didn't know an alligator could jump that far. Yeah, those jumps, and they snap, and it's like, but hell yeah, those who in their right mind would want to stop and go, you know what? Let's stop over here and feed the alligators. I think that'd be nice. Come on, let's go. Yeah, okay.
Mike, have you been keeping up with what's been going on here in San Antonio with the referees, where the high school players they blindsided that one referee? Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I was aware of it. A lot of people, kind of upset about what these kids did. I don't know really what people are so upset. If you ask me, I watched this video like at least 10, 15 times, and to me, it was a clean hit. I didn't see it was a clean hit, right? Did you see the referee throw a flag? Did you see the referee throw a flag? No flags on the play?
That's right, man.
To me, it was a perfect hit. I think they missed the other guy who came in and spearheaded him. I think they blew that one, but the first guy, clean hit all the way. Why are people upset?
They're probably going to use it for the locker room videos. This is the way you hit a player or you hit a person out there and put on that video.
Perfect tackle, yeah. Perfect defense. Perfect defense. Honestly, though, all kidding aside, I think at that level, teenagers are in high school. I think they're either too scared or smart enough or disciplined enough to know they're not going to make that decision on their own. That's the impression I get. I mean, we were both in high school. I don't think you and I are going to be that stupid and say, you know what, I'm going to make this move right now. I don't think we would do that. So to me, is A, were they told to do it by one of the coaches? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Or B, did that referee say something really bad, I don't know, so bad that it just infuriated them and they did it? So to me, there's a lot behind the story, as far as why they would do it. I just don't think they should be taking the blame by themselves. I think there's somebody else involved with that decision.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. And speaking of changes, Mike, what's been going on in today's world, Mike, what do you think about all these kids, teenagers, younger, with cell phones? Jeez, what's going on today here, Mike?
I don't know. Back then, it used to be candy, or I don't know. What used to keep you entertained coming from school? You go get a soda or candy or something, right? It wasn't a cell phone. Everything is a cell phone. I think, listen, that's the future, man. You're not gonna stop it. Too many people have a cell phone. I mean, those kids in school, there's no reason. What do? They text themselves silly messages. Half these kids don't even know how to spell because of the autocorrect. You know that.
That's right.
If you challenge them, say, here's the test. Today we're gonna text messages all day. You're gonna get excited. You're the teacher. Go, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna text each other messages all day today for the class, and everybody's excited. But here's the difference: we're gonna write them down on paper, like text messages. I bet you half of them couldn't spell words. So I think it's affecting the minds of kids. These text messages and that. But what I think about them having it, I don't see the necessity. I don't mind if a kid has a cell phone. But really, I mean, when you see kids with cell phones, what do you normally get back? What's the end result? You normally see videos of fights, right? Here's a kid at a school. Yeah, you see fights in schools. You see fights at the Walmart. You see fights on the street. You see fights of kids doing stupid things. I mean, they're not being productive with the cell phone. So to me, it's like, listen, my kid has a cell phone. I better see you doing something productive or smart with that cell phone, because if it's all about silly messages and stupid videos, you really don't need it. It's amazing, but, to answer your question, how does stupidity kind of, this is the sad part, if you want to look about the future of cell phone and kids. Yesterday I saw this show, right? Well, we're taping for Friday, right? My bad. But I saw this show on Sunday, the brand new show called La Banda. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's by Simon Cowell, whatever. The guy who did American Idol produced this show with Ricky Martin. But basically, they're looking for talent to create La Banda. They're looking for talent to create a band. All these kids that came out, 17, 18-year-olds, all look like models. Half of them have no talent. But here's the deal. Before you go and get to sing and audition in front of the judges, which is Ricky Martin, Laura Pausini, and Alejandro Sanz, right? Before you get to audition for them, what they do is, okay, you need 75% approval by our audience, which is 500 teenage girls. If they like you, or the way you look, because obviously it's based on looks, because these guys haven't sung yet, and you get more than 75%, you get to audition. If they don't like you, or don't think you're cute, you don't even get to see you don't get to audition. So what they do is they show all these girls on their cell phones, like, yes or no for this guy. That's what we're teaching teenagers to do with cell phones. It's silly, stupid, dumbing down, whatever you want to call it. Listen, I don't want to sound like I'm old-fashioned, old school, but at the end of the day, to me, it's like, if all you're going to do with a cell phone is dumb stuff, I mean, then you better not have it. So anyway, so that's how the show works. That's the future. That's what kids are doing today with cell phones, just goofy stuff.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. I tell you what, Mike, you have a big event happening tomorrow night here in San Antonio at Marty's Cocktails. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, I'm excited because, first of all, Marty's, it's a small venue. It's an intimate venue, which I love because, listen, I've done venues, from the Majestic Theater here locally, where it's 2,000 plus people. And I've done venues that are a lot smaller than that. Marty's is great. It's intimate. It's a nice setting. I would say 70, 75 people is the most you get in there. And the audience is right there on top of the performer, which is even great. So the energy, which is really important in comedy, so the energy back and forth between the comedian and the audience is right there. It's so strong, so contagious. It fuels comedians because we work off energy. And the audience is just, laughing like, it's just great. So I'm excited to be doing it here because, like I said, it's intimate. I call it up close and personal.
There you go.
Up close and personal with Mike Robles. If you're sitting up front, you probably get to smell the cologne I'm wearing. That's how personal it is. But it's Mike Robles, Comedy All-Stars, and I'm going to have with me 4 of the comedians, personal favorites of mine from Texas, doing their thing. And it's going to be like, a nice night of nonstop laughter. Hosted by Emmy Award winner Mike Robles. You don't get better than that. You don't get better than that.
Mike, where can people get their tickets?
Tickets, they can go to my website, MikeRobles.com. They scroll to the bottom. There's a link there for Ticket Leap, San Antonio Comedy Show. They could just hit that. And they're in. Or they can go, find me on Facebook. It's Facebook/Mike Robles Comic. All the information is there. And that's probably the quickest way. But they can go to my website. They can subscribe, so they'll find a way to find the tickets. After hearing this, they can email you on Facebook and ask you, hey, where's the information? Also, people listening to the show right now, they can go to your page on Facebook or your website, and you have the link to it, I believe. So.
That's right. Now, Marty's Cocktails is located at 603 Isom Road. That's kind of like on the side of the airport, right?
Yeah. Right there in a little plaza, perfectly located. Like I said, it's a nice, intimate venue. I have fun. It's great to see a show. It's live, like I said, intimate. It's one of those things, when you can see the big shows, which are great, 2,000 people is always nice, but I've always been a fan also of intimate shows. You get to see that performer just kind of just be themselves, do their thing. It's just you and them. It's kind of intimate. I like those types of shows a lot, too.
That is perfect, Mike.
You have those special moments, closer moments with the fans and people who are seeing you for the first time. It's like the closest you're going to get to a performer than your typical comedy club / theater show. So that's why I'm a fan of these shows. And I normally do them every once in a while just so we can kind of share that experience. It
makes it more personal, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the next best thing to having, meeting a performer after the show. I mean, you're, right there. And also, every seat is a good seat. Like I said, that holds 75, which is it's not a lot, but it's not a few. It's the perfect size for all of us to have a good time. That's why it's intimate, up close, and I love those venues. It just brings out more of the inner performer. I don't know if that makes sense because the energy feeds itself, it's really cool. So anybody planning to come, anyone who's already bought the ticket, they're in for a great show, and like I said, the intimacy and it's kind of personal. It's almost like being in your living room. That's the best way I could put it. That's how, intimate it is. And how cool is that? If you were in your living room and had a great show right in front of you. It's like you don't experience that every day.
That is simply awesome, Mike. I tell you what, Mike, my sidekick here, Dr. Pepino, who's obnoxious. He pisses me off all the time. I don't even know.
Obnoxious pisses you off. He sounds like he's from New York. Is he from New York? I like that. He needs to go back to New York. That's what he needs to do. Well, he's got a question for you, Mike. Let me bring him on here.
That's
what, Pepino?
Dr. Pepino and,
Pickle?
Whatever he is. I don't know. He doesn't look like a pickle. I don't know what he is.
Pepino's a pickle or a pepper? What's a Pepino?
Come here, Dr. Pepino.
Is that what you mean?
That Dr. Pepino, that's his name, Dr. Pepino.
Oh, I like that.
He claims that they call him Dr. Pepino because he likes to fill women's prescriptions. So figure that out, huh? You figured that out, Mike, huh? Well, Dr. Pepino.
Fill women's prescriptions. I like that.
Dr. Pepino, come on over here. What is your question for Mike Robles? And you better keep it respectful. Do you hear me, Dr. Pepino?
Okay, Mike Robles. I know you're an Emmy Award winner. I know you've been all over the world. I know you're a big star on YouTube and everywhere else. I know all of this. I know you're from New York City. I know all this stuff. Dr. Pepino doesn't need to be told anything because I know all about you, Mike Robles. That's why I've got one question and one question for you. I bet you get a lot of tail out there, Mike Robles, when you're on the road, don't you? Oh, come on. You know you get some tail out there. Give it to me. Give me the story.
Well, first of all, let me tell you, Dr. Pepino, I love the arrogance. I love the fact that, to me, what you're asking me is like you're a New Yorker like me. So, first of all, props to you. Second of all, you sound so much like Robert.
What the hell, Mike Robles? You're saying I sound like Robert Rivas? I don't think so.
But I know it's not Robert. It's Dr. Pepino, right?
That's Mr. Dr. Pepino to you, Mr. Mike Robles. I know all about you, Mike. Don't ever try disrespecting me. Do you hear me? I know you're from the Bronx, but Dr. Pepino from San Antonio. So go ahead. What do you want to know here, Mike Robles? What do you want to know?
Yeah. Dr. Pepino, my bad. Yeah, you would think there is a lot of tail out there. But, if you're looking for tail, you're going to find tail. I don't really go looking for tail because, if you pull someone's tail, they bite, You ever pull a dog's tail? Any animals. Have you ever pulled someone's tail? What normally happens? They bite you, right?
Let me just say this, Mike Robles. Dr. Pepino doesn't need to pull any woman's tail. Those women, they want to pull my tail. They all want a piece of Dr. Pepino. They all want me to fill their prescriptions. Oh!
Well, you're a lucky man to have a tail, first of all, let me tell you. And the fact that you can fill prescriptions, doctor, I should be telling you, you must get a lot of tail.
Let me just say this, Emmy Award winner Mr. Mike Robles. Let me just say this. I'm proud of you. You're kicking ass out there, but along with that, come on. You know it as well as I do. You know it. You know that you're getting a lot of tail out there. And Dr. Pepino, sometimes I go through some lonely nights, but like right now I got a baby doll waiting for me outside, and she keeps on honking her horn. If she keeps on honking that horn at me, I'm going to go outside and honk her two horns, if you know what I mean. So, that being said, look here, Mike. Let's exchange numbers later on, and, if ever you got way too much tail for you that you can't handle, just send a couple of those baby dolls over to Dr. Pepino, and we'll fill their prescriptions. We'll see you later, Mike. That's for being part of the morning show. Woohoo!
Okay, he's done. He's out of here.
That's funny. I got a whole pickup of extra tail if he wants, and I can drop it off. If he takes Obamacare, probably could get 2 truckloads of tails.
Mike Robles, I got to tell you, man, I'm definitely going to be there Saturday night, September 19th, which is tomorrow night at Marty's Cocktails, 603 Islum Road. For more information, you can call 210-341-9259, or you can send Mike Robles a message through Facebook, or send me, Robert Rivas, a message, and we'll get you all the information that you need to get over there and have an awesome night of comedy. No, Mike?
Oh, yeah, and showtime's at 8 o'clock, and after the show, they have probably one of the best karaokes in town, so if you want to hang around afterwards and sing some songs, that's always fun, but it's going to be a fun night, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. Looking forward to sharing my New York with people. I can't wait to see them. It's going to be up close and personal. There's nothing better than that. Bring Dr. Pepino, and hopefully we can exchange tales, have a good time. What do you think?
That's simply awesome, Mike. Mike, definitely looking forward to it, and we'll see you Saturday night at Marty's Cocktails. Mike Robles, thank you for being part of Robert Rivas Radio Morning Show.
Robert, it was a pleasure, man. Enjoy your show, and thank you for having me. See you Saturday night.